Very good evening, everybody. Today we're going to start with new chapter from Stuart Close, the chapter number 12, the examination of the patient. We have learned the symptomatology in detail in last lecture. All those chapters where Stuart Close have highlighted them, everywhere he tried to develop your own thinking to look towards the topics. And same is true related with this chapter, examination of the patient. So today we're going to start directly with this chapter, the examination of the patient, and we'll see what he wants to say. Open the page number 167, the chapter number 12, examination of the patient. We take up in general manner the subject of examination of patient for special purpose of making homeopathic prescription. At first, thought it would seem as if this subject should have been presented before the general subject of symptomatology, treated in the preceding article, in as much as the purpose of any examination of the patient is to discover the signs and symptoms. It is evident, however, that we cannot intelligently and logically take up the study of methods of examining patients for the homeopathic prescription until we have learned what symptoms are from the homeopathic standpoint and decided upon some adequate form of classification. We shall be more successful in our search for anything if we know what we are looking for. See how nicely he has started with the chapter. And he started that actually I have decided that this chapter should be written first and then the symptomatology. But I considered that unless and until we know the symptomatology, we cannot look what we want. And that's why I have given much importance to the symptomatology chapter. I have discussed about symptomatology, because of which it is possible for us now to learn what should we look for in the case. If we know what is important from our point of view, that we are going to look for. And that's what he has written over there. He has mentioned very specifically that if we want to take a case, examine a patient, we must understand what we exactly look for. If the things are known, then we can look for it. Very simple thing. We know this is called as frowning, then we can look, yes, this is frowning is there in the patient. If we don't know this is called as frowning, we overlook it. This is simple thing. And that's why whenever we have to learn anything, we must know the things prior to it. And that's why he has started with the chapter that it is the symptomatology, which he has explained first, and then this chapter he has started. The story is told of John Borot, the late venerable dean of American naturalist, that on one occasion he was visiting the home of an admirer who lived in the suburbs of one of our large city. His hostess, professing her great love of birds, bewailed their disappearance from her neighborhood. She had not seen a bird for such a long, long time. The wicked boys and the marauding cats had driven them all away. Uncle John looked sympathetic but said nothing. Shortly afterwards, he put on his hat, tucked his notebook and opera glasses in his pocket, and went out for an hour's walk. On his return, he invited his hostess to sit down beside him, produced his notebook, and showed her a list of nearby 20 different species of birds which he had observed during his hour's walk within half mile of an upper home. The difference between Mr. Burrow and his hostess was simply that he not only knew what to look for, but where and how to look for it. And so he easily found what was hidden from her eyes. Very simple example he has mentioned over there. So there he explained story. The person who don't know what to look for, even though everything is around their house. And that's why Nothing is noted over there by her. But the person who visited that, who knows the things which are different types of birds, what are their species, how there is a differentiation. And he just went for a walk for half an hour, and when he returned, he was able to explain in the notebook, yes, these are 20 types of birds I have seen. Why this has happened? Because he was knowing the thing prior to do it, and one who doesn't know the things prior to it, and that's why one remains ignorant, another acquired the knowledge. And same is true when you deal with the patient. You must know prior to it what you have to look for. So this is how he has started the chapter, by giving introduction that yes, we must know the things what we have to look for, what exactly we expect from the patient, and what is important for us in the examination of the patient. So very simple example he has mentioned over there in order to gain the knowledge about examination of patient. And now he starts. So it is in the examination of patient, examining a patient. The students who knows the nature, the constitution, the forms and varieties of symptoms necessary for homeopathic prescription will find many things in a case which another, specially trained perhaps only in pathology and general diagnosis, will entirely overlook, because pathology and diagnosis do not seek for nor take into consideration the phenomenon which are most significant from the standpoint of homeopathic prescriber. Phenomenon means expression. So see, this is very important thing one has to look for. If you know that what is needed for you in order to prescribe, then you can look for it. So you know that simple things, that you go on observing what that patient's lips are dry, they are cracked at the corners, there is a crack at the center of lower lip or middle of lower lip, the face is absolutely greasy. If you know this knowledge, you will going to look for. If you don't know this, you will not going to look for. You know that chapter mouth open, crack in the repertory, cracks at the corners of mouth. Second rubric, cracks at the center of lower lip, then face greasy. If you will going to get, then you see the tongue of the patient and it is completely mapped, geographical. Then you open repertory, see it. If you know that this is important for you, because you look for the constitution. If you don't know this, then you will not going to look for it. If you know it, then you can find it out all things which will individualize that patient, and will ready material will be available for you for the prescription. All those features from the allopathic practitioner point of view doesn't have a value, because it never carries or it never gives you the diagnosis. It will never give you a pathology. And from their standpoint of view, they are interested in pathologies. They are interested in giving the names to the patient's disorder, which is not at all useful from homeopathic prescription. So one must know, yes, this is what one has to look for. If there is a patient whose neck is emaciated, yes, you can see the rubric, complete repertory, neck, emaciation. You will get netromure again. So all those features defines netromure, because you know this is what you have to look for, which is not important for labeling the patient with certain diagnosis. You will press your prescription, it will depend upon all those features which patient will going to narrate or which you will going to pursue in the patient. And before that, if we know these are the things present in our repertory and these are the things which we have to look for, then automatically we look for it. And this is what he wants to highlight over there. Before going for the examination of the patient, you must know what you have to look for. So he has used word phenomenon. Phenomenon means expression. The expression of the patient, the way he narrates, carries a lot of marks. It is useful. Every patient talks to you in a different tone. Someone talks, doctor, I'm having this problem. Is there any solution for in homeopathy? Doctor, is there any solution for homeopathy? These are the different tones which you have to understand. Yes, it carries some importance for your point of view, not for an allopath. You can catch the behavior of the patient on the way he expresses it. And that's why phenomenon is called as an expression, and you have to catch that phenomenon from the patient, then it becomes very easy to individualize that case. Every word uttered, the man behind those words, you have to look for, you have to catch for. And what he says, the modalities or the characteristic conditions, for example, which we have seen to be of the highest importance in selecting the homeopathic remedy, mean little or nothing to the pathologist or general diagnostician. Patient comes to you and patient tells, Doctor, I had a very bad chill in the morning at 4 o'clock. I was sleeping and all of a sudden I waked up and I looked toward the clock and it was 4 o'clock and I got very severe rigors. It is followed by fever, it is followed by sweating. But this 4 o'clock modality doesn't carry any meaning for the diagnostician. This 4 o'clock modality never gives you anything important to the pathology. For their point of view, chill or rigor followed by fever, followed by sweating, diagnosis, intermittent fever or malarial fever. This is how they look for. But this naming the disease by the name of a malaria doesn't carry any means to the homeopath. He will not going to prescribe on the name the malaria because it is not, you cannot individualize. But the way he told that 4 o'clock, chill at 4 a.m., open the repertory, Kent's repertory, the chill chapter, in morning 4 a.m., only remedy, Cedron, which is mentioned in Kent's repertory. You are coming to the conclusion, the Cedron 4 a.m. modality, because modality individualizes that symptom, it modifies that symptom and makes it more characteristic, which are important from homeopathic point of view, which are not important for the pathological point of view. So means selecting a homeopathic remedy means little and nothing to the pathologist or general diagnostician. The same might be said of the mental and subjective symptoms. Thus, we have to separate and classify the various kinds of symptoms revealed by the complete general examination and vary our methods of examination according to the particular end in the view. So, patient will going to narrate many things. Patient will come to you and he says, Doctor, yesterday I have headache over here and then it has shifted to over here and then it has shifted over that place. He is giving you something which you have to catch, which you have to perceive. This is too important. Unless you gaze that it is not possible to come to the remedy. This is not important from diagnostic point of view. From allopathic point of view, if patient narrates this, he says something functional. The label functional, he gives tranquilizer, finished, painkillers. But that will not going to settle the problem. Patient will return, doctor, it is again happening like this. Unless you give him Calibicromicum. Why Calibicromicum? Because it is indicated with the tip of the finger, pen in spots, changing the site, shifting is very important in Calibicromicum, and then you can catch something. So the things which are important from homeopathic point of view are not important for the diagnostic point of view. And this is what he is explaining over there. Thus, we have to separate and classify the various kinds of symptoms revealed by the complete general examination and vary our methods of examinations according to the particular end in the view. You should not be fixed with your way of case taking. It should vary with the patient. And that's why you should be flexible enough. Sometimes you get the case taking in the first preliminary data only. Patient will going to start narrating his symptoms and you get, yes, what you want. Just writing down the examination, preliminary examination. Only thing is that you should be able to catch, grab. This is too important for you. But those things are not important from the diagnostic point of view. You write the name of the patient, you write the age and sex, and then you write the date of birth, then whether he is vegetarian, non-vegetarian, eggs, and then you write the date of examination, and then you ask occupation. And patient tells you, I'm doing job in one of the office. And you put, what do you feel? Are you happy with the job? That's a very important question. Very important. The patient says, narrates, doctor, actually I didn't want to do the job. But at that time, our condition was very bad. There was no chance. Actually, I wanted to do a business. Even today also, I want to do business. But it is not possible because the condition is not there to invest for such a thing. And that's why I have to do a job because of such a condition. See, here the things are important from your point of view, which is not at all important from the diagnostic point of view or from the allopathic point of view. Here you get the individuality. What he is doing? He is doing the job against his will. His will was something, but he was doing it against his will. His intentions were different and his will is different. He wanted to do a business, but it was not possible. But ultimately he has to do it. And that is what is undertaking the things opposed to his intentions. That is the rubric which you get, and you get only two remedies, sepia and phosphorus. You confirm during the case taking and you will find again same thing. In the case also you will get many times those things. Then once you confirm, you take that rubric for the case. So this is what he wants to explain. What exactly you have to look for is very important prior to the taking the case. And what is important from homeopathic point of view plays a very vital role. The technique of an examination for the purpose of diagnosticating the disease is quite different from that of the examination for making the homeopathic prescription. Technique, what is technique? Technique means a method. So, how is the allopathic method and how is the homeopathic method of case taking? Patient comes towards the allopath and tells, doctor, I'm having fever and there is sore throat. He just looks, yes, this is the prescription, finished. He said, there is a tonsillitis, you take this medicine, this antibiotic, these are tablets, finished. That's all. That is because he wants to look for common symptoms of the disease, on the basis of which he catch, yes, this is called as a diagnosis. From homeopathic point of view, this is not sufficient. Even though you know this is a sore throat, tonsillitis, you cannot come to the conclusion of right remedy. Because this is not something which guides you towards the individuality of that patient. If the patient tells, doctor, there is severe throbbing, I cannot swallow anything, even it is very difficult to drink water, but at least I can drink little bit water, but cannot eat solids, and it is too painful, and there is severe headache, and I'm having tremendous pulsations over there. And you see the throbbing carotid, the flushed face, the tonsils engorged, absolutely red. And you ask, how is the thirst? And he says, no thirst at all. Now you get the things which are essential for your prescription, essential to individualize that case, and then you come to the conclusion, yes, this is belladonna. So for diagnostic point of view, the symptoms are different. For homeopathic prescription, the symptoms are different. And these are the things which he wants to explain, that when you do homeopathic case taking or examination of the patient, you must know what you have to look for. The diagnosis of the disease by modern methods is based largely upon physical signs. tests, and reactions, involving the use of many instruments of precision in which the patient takes no active part and of which he has no knowledge. See, the first sentence which he has mentioned is related with the modern methods. How do they examine the patient? If patient complains of sore throat, they throw a light upon the throat, look for the tonsils, finished, that's all. If there is any problem with the nose, they just takes the nose up, looks over there. If there is ear problem, they looks with their instruments inside the ear, etc. If there is some eye problem, they looks for with their precise instruments towards the eye. These are different methods which they utilize. What is the purpose? Purpose is to look for some visible pathology. Is there any visible entity which will guide to prescribe? They look for that. But for homeopathic point of view, it doesn't carry any mass. Even though you know there is a nasal polyp, you cannot prescribe only on the polyp. Patient complains there is obstruction inside nose. Then you look for it and there is a polyp inside nose. You cannot directly go with the remedy. If patient complains, doctor, I'm having a total nasal obstruction. Daytime it's better, but whenever I sleep, it is absolutely blocked. Specifically, I used to sleep and get the sleep at 3 o'clock. I get awakened and nose is completely blocked and it never opens. I have to sit, etc. All those things. So these are things which are there, which you have to catch. And then you think, open your repertory, finds it out that nose obstruction at night, midnight after, or at midnight after, at 3 a.m. and you get over there, that you can get directly remedy ammonium carbonate. Because this is important for you, the time modality. You require, it is not the nasal obstruction. Then you look for the nasal polyp, you can get the remedy. But nasal polyp is not the thing which is a proving symptom. Polyps are given over there, but polyps, these are clinical findings which are added over there. These are clinical symptoms. Our prescription never depends upon the clinical symptom. Our prescription depends upon what patient narrates, what is the phenomenon, what is the expression, what is the manifestation. That's what we have to look for. The selection of homeopathic remedy, on the other hand, is based very largely and sometimes almost entirely upon the phenomena. See, the word phenomena he is using again and again. Phenomena means expressions. Upon the phenomena or deduction drawn from the phenomena of subjective conscious experience pursued only by the patient and stated by him to the examiner. So whatever patient narrates carries a lot of mark. The way he presents carries too much marks. How he enters, what he utters, the way he expresses, everything carries a mark. That gives you exactly the remedy, not the diagnosis. So every patient who will going to come in your OPD, it's come in his own way. If it is acute, his presentation is every patient presents the same tonsillitis in a different manner or same toothache in a different manner. And that's what you have to catch. Someone says that, doctor, it is too painful. I cannot sleep whole night and I will die, do something very. He's in panic. The panic state of the patient is very, very essential. That's what you have to catch. You have to understand. So see, these are the things which you have to look for, which will guide you toward the remedy, not the diagnosis. So for homeopathic point of view, all the subjective symptoms are important. All the conscious experience of the persons are important, which are perceived by the patient and stated by him to the examiner. Nearly all of the objective phenomena possessing the value from standpoint of homeopathic therapeutics are of such a character that they require the exercise of only a physical senses and ordinary powers of observation by the patient, his friends, or his physician himself. So, more important for homeopathician is the subjective, less important is objective. But it doesn't mean that objectives are not important. Objectives are important. Objectives helps you to confirm your remedy many times. Yes, you know, you get the whole symptomatology of the patient. Patient is there, the child is there, and he's sitting over there and he's boring his nose inside with his fingers. You observe that. That is the observing symptom. Patient will not going to narrate. It is your duty to ask the mother whether he bores the nose again. Second thing you observe, he keeps the fingers in mouth. That is second observation which you can do. These are also the things which you have to look for, and there are rubrics for it. Nose, the boring fingers with fingers must. That is the rubric in kids repertory in nose chapter. In the mouth chapter, fingers in mouth children put. That is the rubric. You get all those things. And all those things guides you to understand that patient in a proper manner. So observation doesn't carry the sense, it is not like that. Observations are also important, but comparatively, subjectives are more individualistic than the objectives. This is what he wants to say. This distinction should be kept clearly in mind. Examinations of the for the purpose of pathological study and diagnosis are necessary and important in their several fields. But from the standpoint of homeopathic pharmacotherapeutics, their importance is relative, not absolute. So diagnosis, yes, they are important only to understand the disease process, the disease pathogenesis, but they are not important for prescription point of view. They are not absolute necessary. Aside from the physical or organic localization of the disease, they furnish comparatively little that is of value to the homeopathic prescriber in the special work of selecting the symptomatically similar medicine. So those symptoms which are diagnostic symptoms or pathognomic symptoms are not so much importance to find it out a right remedy for the case. For your point of view, all the subjectives are very important. Patient comes and patient tells you the dreams, which are not at all important for the diagnostician, but they are very important for the homeopath because every remedy we know the dreams which are written over there. Because of dreams, it is quite easy to reach to the remedy, and that carries a big, very value for the homeopath. And to start with this chapter, the examination of the patient, he starts directly what one should look for and what is important for the homeopathic from homeopathic point of view. I think we'll conclude the chapter over here, today's session over here, and we'll meet directly on Monday with the continuation of the chapter. Tomorrow will be holiday, tomorrow and Sunday will be holiday. We'll meet again on Monday. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot. If any query is there, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll meet at 8 o'clock with new remedy, that is the Bovista. Okay. So thank you being there and good evening.